and welcome to my channel. Today we're trying some new Anastasia Beverly Hills products. I have the new concealer and the famous brow gel, and I also have some things that I already own that I want to use in this video. I was very excited to try this new concealer, and I have heard good and bad things about it, but mostly good I think, and I just want to give it a try myself. I won't do a proper wear test. I will leave in the comment section or in the description box how it wore for at least 5 hours. But I can't do anything more than that. Also, I have this nice golden hour lighting at the moment. I hope that's okay. I do have some artificial lighting to support everything, so I think it'll be alright. But as you can see, I have this nice sun glow over here. I hope you can live with that. So what I'm going to use today from Anastasia Beverly Hills is the eyeshadow palette. I'm also trying the new concealer, like I said, and the eyebrow gel. I'm also throwing in the new for me, NYX Lift and Snatch, because that's just a celebrated combination and I wanted to give it a try. And I also have this liquid highlighter and the cream bronzer. So that's what we're going to do today. I am going to do a full face because, well, why not? And let's get started. Real quick before we get started, I want to thank you so much for clicking on my video. I hope you enjoy it, and if so, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'm Cecile, I'm 28, I'm from the Netherlands. I upload 3 times a week with makeup related content, and I would love to share it with you. So let's get into the video. Since I don't have a primer or foundation from ABH, I'm just going to use my Project Pan items. So for primer, I'm going to use my Too Faced Hangover Primer. I think I'm almost out of this one. Take about 2.5 pump. I am starting to like this primer. At first I was sort of indifferent about it, but it is nice. It does keep your face feeling hydrated and less dry over time, so I think that's nice. For foundation, I'm going in with my Estee Lauder Double Wear. I have mine in the shade 1W1. Bone, and I think this will be a beautiful foundation to have as a backdrop for the new concealer because this is a very reliable base. I'm going to speed through the non-Anastasia Beverly Hills parts a little bit faster. I always pour out a little bit too much of that foundation. I still have this much left on my hand. And I really don't need anything more. I really should buy one of those pumps, but I'm not sure if I will repurchase this foundation or not. So that's the foundation applied. I always really like this foundation. I think the shade is very perfect for me. So now let's get into the new stuff. Like I said, I have the ABH concealer. I have mine in the shade number 1. Shade number 1 and 2 were very close, I felt like. And I think 2 was just a little bit more pink, but I could be wrong about that. This is called the Magic Touch Concealer. And it's this pretty large bottle. I'm sure you've seen it around. It has this slanted, pretty big doe foot applicator, and I'm just going to apply something to one half of my face. So I'll apply a little bit here. I always like to hit the inner corner when I'm not starting with my eyeshadow, and a little bit here. I think this color is perfect. I'll do a little bit on my nose. And then I'm taking my pyramid shaped concealer brush. I feel like this concealer spreads pretty far. The shade is perfect. So it does spread out pretty far, but I wouldn't say it blends itself. I will need to go back with my foundation brush and go over the edges a little bit. But I do that with most concealers. So I'll come a little bit closer. I feel like this looks pretty flawless. Of course, I do have a pretty high coverage foundation on, but still, it was a little bit dark right there, and it really isn't anymore. I feel like this is a medium plus coverage. It's definitely a little bit more than just a medium, but I wouldn't say it's completely full yet. For me, this is perfect, and it's sort of creamy. Let me apply it to the other half of my face. Alright, so this is the freshly applied side, and it doesn't get anywhere in my creases. But also on this side, it doesn't really seem to be gathering that much. I saw Patty Alonso's review and she set it with powder and it looked pretty bad, she thought. But I am going to set it down with a little bit of powder because that's what I always do, and I do want to know if it works or not. But she had to reapply and not use the powder to make it work. But that wasn't the typical response I saw. Alright, I think this looks pretty good. I like how brightening it is, but it isn't too yellow or too pink. It's a nice neutral shade, I would say. And I think it is a little bit more glam. You see, because of the coverage it has. But I feel like I could also spread it out a little bit more and then it would be a little bit more natural. So I think this is a beautiful concealer. And the finish is sort of natural, leaning more glowy. Of course, after you set with powder, it'll be a whole different story. But for now, that is what it looks like. So far, I really like it. Then let's go into the cream bronzer. I have mine in the shade Amber. I thought about picking up the lightest shade, but it looked very yellow to me and pretty light. And I figured I wasn't really going to use that one. So this is a more red toned undertone. And I thought that would be nicer. So this product has 30 grams, even though the container looks pretty small. It has the same amount of product as the large Soleil de Chanel, the cream bronzer by Chanel. So I thought that was interesting. I always use this small contour brush by Real Techniques for any cream bronzer and contour products. I'm just going to swirl my brush in a couple of times, really load up the brush with product, and let's see. Ooh, this feels so nice. It looks pretty dark on camera, but in real life it looks exactly the way I want it. And I like how opaque this product is. The Chanel bronzer, which I also have, is a lot more sheer and is also a lot more orange. So this one is a little bit dark for me, but I think it's alright. I'm also taking a little bit on my nose, under my lip, a little bit under the chin. This product spreads out pretty far. I'm spreading it out a little bit with the same brush. But to make sure it doesn't go out of hand, I will also go over with my foundation brush. But this looks pretty nice. Wow, this blended out so beautifully. I think maybe one shade lighter would have been better. But I do like the way this sort of contours my face at the same time as bronzing it. So I am a little bit impressed with this. I think it looks really nice. I hardly see any edges. It sort of blends easily from the light to the dark. And this is a little bit more of a glam look, but I think this product sort of serves that purpose because it is a little bit more thick and a little bit more opaque. It reminds me a little bit of the Huda Beauty Tan Tour. I didn't apply that to my face, but I did feel the texture and swatch it on my hand in store. And this reminds me a little bit of it in the way of its opaqueness. So I have been wearing my concealer for a little bit now, and it is starting to gather a little bit in my lines. And I don't really have very pronounced lines under my eyes at all. In fact, if I don't wear any foundation or concealer or powder, you don't see them. Never. But sometimes when I wear there will be a little bit of settlement, or concealer I mean, a little bit of settling under my eyes. But before we can set with powder, I also want to show the liquid highlighter I picked up. It's the Liquid Glow highlighter, and I'm very curious about this one. It was on a major sale, but only one shade, and I'm not sure if this is the lightest shade or not. Maybe it's going to be too dark. It's in the shade Oyster, and I thought it was so beautiful because it had this sort of rosé gold appearance. I'll swatch a little bit on my hand. Maybe this will be more of a blush on me. So... ooh, that is a beautiful color. I'm just going to try it as a regular highlighter. Look how beautiful that is. I think it would be beautiful in the summer, like in your décolleté. And this has tiny little gold sparkles in it. I really like this color. I'm just going to apply a little bit on my finger. I think this is way too much. I took this much, but I'm going to see. Put a little bit here, a little bit on my nose, and on the top of my brows and my cupid's bow. I'm just going to try to tap it out with my fingers. Yeah, if you apply too much, it definitely breaks up your foundation and concealer. I never have the greatest luck with liquid highlighters, but since this was more of a gel, I thought I could give it a try. You have to be so careful with these kinds of products. But when they work, I mean, this looks beautiful. I'm not going to use too much powder with this. I think I will do the brows before powder as well, just because this is a new product and I'm not sure how it's going to behave. So I'm talking, of course, about the Brow Freeze. And I've been wanting to try a clear brow gel that actually holds my brows for a long time. And now I finally have one. So the beauty of this product is that you don't need to wet it. I did try the Makeup Revolution one, which was sort of a soap brow situation. And it did work, but it was a little bit annoying to have to spray it. And also it didn't really hold my brows any longer than 15 minutes. So I thought I would give this a try. It's not cheap, I must say. And the stupid thing is, I actually don't have a separate spoolie. I only have spoolies that come on the back of my eyebrow pencils. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to coat my spoolie a little bit. It really is quite a, how do you call it? A squishy product. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit to my brows. Maybe add whatever is remaining on my other brow, because I think I picked up a lot. It feels very cool. As in cold. Okay, this works 1,000 times easier than that other product does from Makeup Revolution. I'm going to stick my brow hairs up for a change. I usually only fluff up the front side, but today I'm doing all of it. Maybe I should have done this before foundation, because my eyebrows look very white at the moment. It almost looks like I don't have any eyebrows. Maybe I should have cleaned them before I did this. But the brow gel definitely works. It works really well. And there is a little bit of wiggle room after you've applied the brow gel. I did take some foundation off, or I tried to. I don't think this is easier than a regular tinted brow gel that I usually use. But I do like the effect, so I'm okay with it. I'm very excited about this product. And like I said, I also want to try the NYX Lift and Snatch eyebrow pen. I have mine in the shade Taupe, and I'm just going to see if this works on top of the gel. It has this teeny tiny brush, and I think the color is going to be perfect. So I have seen people use this on top of the ABH brow gel. Yeah, it does work. It works on top of it pretty well. Alright, so this is what my brows look like at the moment. I think this one looks fine, and this one still looks a little bit foundation-y. And my concealer did start to crease again a little bit. Maybe I used a little bit too much, but I think I really need to powder this down. It still feels very emollient. That was it for all the products I wanted to use before powder, so let's get on with that. I'm going to use my Essence Brighten Up powder. This has been my go-to under eye powder ever since I finished my Guerlain powder. And this has proved itself to be a worthy replacement. There, that looks a lot better. I still have the glow from the highlight, which you can really see right now. And my foundation or my concealer looks a lot better like this. I think it actually looks super smooth. I think the trick is to not use too much powder, but when you use only a little bit, it looks beautiful. Alright, so I think I'm going to skip eyeshadow because I already applied all of my face makeup and I don't want to ruin anything. So what I'm going to do instead is just add a little bit of mascara and then a lip gloss, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, so I just noticed that my camera had shut off, and usually I notice it, but now I didn't. So I'm very curious about how much I've missed. I don't know when it stopped recording. It can't have been that long, I think. I was just talking about how much I like this mascara for when I don't wear any eyeshadow. It looks sort of interesting. So now what I like to do when I don't wear any eyeshadow is wear a really bold lipstick. And I like to go for an orange or an orange red. And because it's still sort of early fall, I think I'll get away with it. So I'm going to put on my Rouge Coco Flash in the shade Dazzle, which is a beautiful, slightly reddish orange. I love the look of that. So it's starting to get a little bit dark, and luckily I am finished with my makeup look. I hope most of it was caught on camera, and if not, well, I'll try these products again in another video. I have to say, I think I look just a little bit scary for some reason. Maybe this whole face is a little bit too dramatic for having no eyeshadow. Or maybe there's something wrong with my brows? What do you think? Pretty or scary? Or just ugly? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I'll let you know how most of these products wore for at least the next couple of hours. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed me testing out these new products, and I will see you in the next video.